Hi, I'm Brian. I currently play football here at HBU. One of the biggest issues I saw out during the season was that when offensive linemen ducked their heads, there was poor performance, but also players tended to get head and neck injuries as well as concussions. I recently had a friend have to retire because of concussions. He can't play football anymore. This is our smart brain bucket right here. So basically what it does is that it detects whenever a player has tilted their head, sending auditory and visual indicators to the player and coach via wireless communication, so that the coach knows when the player has ducked their head and there's been forcible contact, but the player also knows through an LED and a piezo speaker telling him that he has ducked his head.
All right, this is our project, Smart Brain Bucket. So it basically comprises of three main sensors, and those are the force pressure sensor, the tilt sensor, and the accelerometer. Our force pressure sensor is probably the most basic, and it is essentially a resistor, so there's not really a defined negative or positive, which is our white and yellow wires don't really have a negative or positive. But basically what it does is it detects a force that's applied on the front of the head, and we're able to see this in the serial monitor, so we'll know once it has passed a certain threshold that we've set, we know that the player has been hit. Now for the tilt sensor, it's also a resistor, and it basically is binary. It has a ball bearing on the inside that will send a signal and will be open if it is upright and closed if it's tilted. So, and the accelerometer is going to be able to detect an XYZ direction of the helmet moving around. But for our purposes, we just want to know if the player ducks their head. So we would only be concerned with the Y direction to know that whether they tilt it down or not. Now, other things that we used for this helmet are the piezo speaker, which you can see on the inside of the helmet right here. And that basically, once the head is tilted and the force is applied, you'll be able to hear the piezo speaker go off in the player's ear, and it's just an auditory indicator that they've been hit and that they've ducked their head. We also have a push button which turns the whole device on or off. Pretty simple. We also have an LED, which whenever the head is tilted, nothing will happen. But whenever the head is tilted and a force is applied, you'll be able to see the LED go off, and you might also be able to hear the piezo speaker go off. So this is primarily what the majority of the device is supposed to do. And then on the back we have our featherboard, which is Wi-Fi connected, and this is going to be able to send data to a website or an app that we're able to make. There's a lot that you can do with it, but at the moment we have a simple website. I guess you just find it with an IP address, and you'll be able to see analog values being sent to your tilt sensor and your force pressure sensor. So initially we didn't actually plan to use an accelerometer, but we originally were going to use a gyroscope, but basically what happened was we found that the gyroscope was very, very sensitive and that the graph was very, very erratic, so we weren't really able to see our X, Y, and Z direction plotted on a graph accurately. We found that replacing that with the accelerometer, we were able to get a more defined look at exactly what was happening with the head movement. Similarly, the tilt sensor, we originally planned to use a 4-directional tilt sensor, which we thought would give us more data, but we realized that we didn't actually need that. All we really needed to know was whether the head was upright or whether it was tilted. Another thing with the 4-directional tilt sensor and the tilt sensor, they had the exact same graph. But despite this, the 4-directional tilt sensor had 6 pins, which made the wiring much more complicated, which wasn't a good thing considering that we had to use a smaller board in place of our Arduino board, which had less pins. So we were limited with the amount of pins that we would have, and we just wanted to be effective with our pin usage. I'm Adrian.
I'm Brian.
And Alberto's behind the camera.
So basically our product, we hope for it to prevent head injuries, but also be used as a training device to break bad habits whenever offensive linemen duck their head so that they perform better on the field, but protect themselves as well.
Alright guys, be sure to hit that subscribe, that like button. I want y'all to comment down below what y'all think of this product. Hit that bell notification every time we upload, probably like the next 10 years or so. Anyways, we love y'all, and peace out.